curveballs we need to report on, or just
just just general life getting in the way of rugby, unfortunately. Weather, Mancunian weather, and like I say, an unfortunate crash on the road outside, but we got around it.
Can I just clear up an obvious first thing, because it was announced formally, Manu going to Bayonne. I know it's sort of been in the offing, but just your reaction to the fact that it was sort of pretty inevitable. How did you see it?
I'm still reacting. I'm still, as I said in my statement, it's still a wrench in my heart, even though together we thought it the right decision for the club and for his family, by way of his earnings and the stage in his career. But I've actually got a bottle of wine in the car. Can't condone drinking in the week, but if we share a bottle, we'll be all right. I'm off to his house after this to level to, because it has come out, and just have a chat with him, because that's how it started. Well, it started on the hill, but we confirmed an extra 2 years over a glass or two, so fitting, I guess. I'll probably be better versed to tell you how that went next week. Massive void. We've got a massive void to fill in terms of the emotional consistency that he provides by way of how composed he is, and the energy that he gives around the place. That's, I would say, the biggest challenge, aside from his ball carrying and ability to bang. So
it's a pretty obvious follow-up, but do you as a club want to send him off in style, or does he as a player want to sign off in style?
Yeah, and it's probably the case in every club, innit? Every year, minimal rotation of playing staff is around, 10, I reckon. And I'm making that up because most stats are, but it has been here, and we're trying to keep everyone together. So we say our goodbyes formally, and we use that as fuel because the lads want to send all their friends off with fond memories. And I know it's cliche, but that's the thing that sticks with you. That in the peak end effect, as psychologists say, like the worst of times, the best of times, and how you finish. So I'm sure that's the way the conversation is going to go tonight. I hope it is. How we can make this his most memorable, his best by way of good memories in terms of his career the next 3 months.
Just the last couple of things. This is obviously a long-term issue, but with Tom Curry, what's the current situation with how he's progressing, how his mood is and whatever? I know you will have been asked a lot about him, and he's spoken a bit himself, but I'm just sort of catching up with it, how he's getting on after not asking for a little while.
Really well. So I've got a little bit of a cough. I'm not, trying to throat. He was away in the wilderness rehabbing for a few months, and we'd see him come in and go out. And the nature of Tom is like either all in, or he needs kind of that space. And it was a couple of weeks before we ended up having a few days off at the start of the Six Nations. And I put it to all our injured players, of which there was a room full, how much more could we contribute as a group? And looking around the room, I'm like, just look at the experience and the likes of Johnny Hill, Tom Ellis, Bevan Rodd, Ross Harrison, Tom Curry. We're all sat in the room, and it wasn't to guilt them. It was just to say, look, are we giving everything we can as a group? Can you contribute? Can you contribute more? Tell me how you can contribute more. And he didn't have any time off. He's away in Malta at present with his missus. He was in rehabbing, and when I come back in, him and Bevan Rodd sat me down and said, we've had some ideas of how we can make this environment better. We want players meetings, we want a players group, we want to be able to provide better, more feedback, we want to hold ourselves more accountable. And he spearheaded that. And that's coinciding with his kind of returning to fitness. So he's running now, and you can see that if he does come back at the end of the season, of which there is a slim possibility, he wants it to be a team and a club that he's had some influence and input on. And so from being out in the wilderness, now I feel I'm looking over my shoulder, like that he's ready to tell me how I could do the meeting better, how we could run sessions better, on the feedback of the players, he's very much back in the fold in terms of his contribution, which I'm very grateful for. So, yeah, he's bobbing around. His hip looks good. His brother's back in training today as well, which is great. And an outside chance, I'd say he might make a final or two if we get there, when we get there.
Fantastic. Just the last one from me. Can you just say a few words about the George Ford we all saw in Lyon and against Ireland? And he was talking himself about playing the game that suited him, and he really came alive. And the performance in particular in Lyon was a pretty complete number 10's performance. But he'd had a few people having a shot at him, criticising whatever, and there was a fairly decent riposte.
Yeah, I think as a team, wasn't it? They shifted, from my understanding now, a lot of their time in the week and shifted their attitude and energy by way of how they wanted to attack. They were a team that, well, I guess, are relatively predictable in terms of how they climbed their way up the field through box kicks and the like. And they wanted to be able to bring variety into the game, get the ball in George's hands more, and then pick the best space, whether it be through the hand or off the foot. And from what I understand, George was influential. He still hasn't been in. He's coming in. He's just had a little daughter, Aliana, yesterday, so we've given him a day off. He just, and this is what Manu talked about at the start of the week. They just shifted their focus into getting back and being ready to strike. And on the back of that, you can pick your option. You can go to foot. You can play through, and it just re-energised the team. And he spearheaded that. Like, I'm really, because it was touch and go, wasn't it, at the start, whether him or Marcus or Finn. You know, all our conversations were like this. Finally, now maybe he can get a run at the helm where he can influence his game, which we see all the time here, which you've seen over the years. And unfortunately for Marcus, he did have a sustained spell there, and over the Six Nations, I think we saw an increase in influence in his game, and also him find his kicking boots again, because he hasn't really been on point since he had his injury. We know that. And yet that last kick, under that kind of pressure, shows the kind of person he is, I guess. It's not even the talent, is it? Because even the most talented people under that kind of pressure buckle, and I was made up for him and made up for us that he's found his form.
Thanks, Alex. Cheers.
Thanks, Chris.
Hi, Alex.
Oh, yeah.
Hope you're well. Hope you're good, mate.
Yeah.
Can I just go back to Manu?
Yeah. Yeah, it's Mike, is it? Sorry, mate. I haven't got your picture here. Hiya, mate. Yeah, you just hid behind.
Just how much persuasion went on? How much, when you learned that he maybe was having other thoughts or was going to leave, how much persuasion did you try and get him to stay?
It wasn't really a persuasion thing. I believe probably Manu would have stayed, and we'd offer him a lot less. We never know now. I might ask him that tonight, but what we could have offered him isn't what he's worth. So it was just a discussion over a period of conversations as to what, and it should be. It's never a shock. It should always be like, you know, what's right for the club, what's right for you, what's right for the pathway these lads we've got going on, what we've discussed in the past by ways of succession, and he's been part of that process all the way through. I owe him that much because of what a legend he is. So yeah, that's why it vexes me a little bit. Not vexes me, that's why I'm torn. You have to wear one hat that's for the club, but you know how we run things here is a focus and a care for the person. And often when it comes down to numbers, which it has, you have to be able to shelve your I wouldn't say your values, but some of your principles for the greater good of the team. It's something I don't, well, like, you know what, like if it starts to get easy for me, I've probably lost a little bit of my soul. So I guess I'll get better at handling it, but I don't want it to get any easier.
Yeah, don't think it ever will it? Those kind of conversations, or one way or the other. Obviously, we're just catching up as well. So saw the news this week. You've signed Wolsey for next season. Tom Curtis has got a new 3-year contract as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about both of those two and why the contract extension for Tom, but what will Wolsey bring to your squad that you don't already have?
Wasaya.
Yes.
Wasaya, yeah. Well, we signed Wasaya and we've probably signed another centre, and that's the truth of it. We have two, where we had one. Gives us the strength and depth that we need in and around that area, whilst we're keeping the pathway open for people like Ricky, Massey White, great talent. And none of that could be achievable without us coming to that understanding with Manu. So now he's starting to realise the jigsaw puzzle that is the salary cap. He's some player, isn't he? Like, he's a creator. Puts dents in defences, brilliant offloading ability, we'll say it, and his modus operandi is positive energy and good vibes. Part of his contract is in bringing some carver routes over, so when things do get a little glum, we can have a carver session. We had a laugh about that, so that's in the contract. He's some fella. I mean, look, like I said, there's a big void to fill. I'm hoping he will. You know, he wants to be a coach later in his career as well. He's proven to be very robust down in Toulon, and he gives us a bit of X factor in the backs as well as a leadership quality. You saw what it was like, and I was able to inspire that team emotionally and through his actions in the World Cup. Very excited to have him on board. And Tom Curtis, he's been on a rolling 1-year contract. We wanted to commit to him. You know, 2 years down the line, depending on what Rob Dupree's doing and what George Forge is doing, we see him as being the next person to come through and take the helm here. And it's cohesion is king in any sporting environment. And he's been with us since he's a young lad. He's just. We did some testing by way of like vertical jump and power tests, and a guy come in from football. So he has all the comparable stats with all the Premiership football teams, and Tom Curtis is the best in the world, apparently, according to his stats. Like, he's some athlete. So he's extremely committed, really good athlete, learning under 2 of the best fly halves in the Prem. I can't see why he wouldn't progress to starting fly half in 3 years' time. We just backed him. I think the young lads need backing. So it's a bit of a longer plan, which means he can calm down in terms of the game time he's getting at the moment, sitting behind those two, just learn off him, Tom. You know, and there's loads to boot there. There's like Joe Carpenter, Bev Rod, like I said, most of our, almost all of our resources, apart from Wasaya that you've just mentioned there, have gone on retention. And as these lads grow and mature and the market value increases, you have to not go right to market value, you have to match. And that's what's happened. They've filled the void of where money would have been spent on other senior players.
Finally, from me, just a word ahead of the weekend now. There's a series of teams all on the same points. It's all very close, similar records, won 7, lost 5. After one of those, kickstart your season from here on in now.
It's a business end, isn't it? Yeah, we'll know in a couple of weeks where we stand. Tight group behind the yellow jersey front runners being Northampton. The only ones really to buck the trend of inconsistency over that Christmas period. They're the ones that stayed on form. And I think everyone will be feeling like we're feeling. We've had a real good chance to reassess, rebuild, refresh and get 9 lads back from injury, to add to those lads who have gained in confidence and experience, who had those opportunities over the Christmas period. So we're as strong physically as we were at the start of the season. It's all up top now. Like, it's all, we get our attitude right, we maintain some emotional consistency, and we're dangerous enough and capable enough to have a go at it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Cheers, Mike.
Hi, Alex. It's Chris Jones.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
Very well, thanks. Alex, let me just go back to Tom a minute, because mentally he's gone from, will this lad ever play again, to, well, you're not going to see him for a year, to he might make the end of the season. How has he dealt with that roller coaster, mental roller coaster he's been on?
So well. Well, from the outside, so well. His brain does work a bit differently. His brain chemistry is a bit different, and I've been maintaining this for years. His ability to reframe things and set a new horizon and then break it down into small, achievable goals is unsurpassed. It was always all right. Like 2 days later, I'm thinking, what does he need here? What support can we give him? He's like, no, fine, right, got a date. And if anyone was going to get over a career-threatening injury, it was going to be him, and seemingly he's doing it. I'm not surprised. I am in awe. He can just chunk it down because he's that kind of man.
And what kind of inspiration is he to the other guys there? Also, the ones who are injured. I'm thinking of Johnny Hill and the guys who are also suffering.
He's demanding. He holds people to account, which is what he wanted to do with this players group, because he himself holds himself to account to extremely high standards. There's no one, as a leader, you've got to back up your words, haven't you, with your actions, and he does. Not to say that he doesn't turn up late every now and again, or he doesn't fill in his wellness. The lads cheer when he has to do dice rolls within our kind of discipline sessions that we have on a Tuesday afternoon, because they want to see him get done for his minor indiscretions. But he takes it in good humour and cracks on and serves his fines as and when he receives them. But yeah, I would say he's demanding. Because he knows what it takes, like more than anyone. He can, if he can run on that hip in the World Cup, which must have been I know it was in retrospect unbelievably painful, like you're walking like an old man in the morning. Reports have been. And push yourself through that to kind of get England to where they were and clear his name on the back of that Bongi incident. What's not to respect about that?
So, you say he's in Malta, so do you expect him to be running around the streets of Malta keeping fit, or is he actually going to relax a bit? I'd
like him to be doing other nefarious activities with his missus in Malta as opposed to running around, Chris. No, I hope he's just... I know, he won't be running around trying some good food. I think him and Dylan Hartley have got some deal with a hotelier out there, so 5-star hotel for 3-star prices, probably. Something like that. I'll see when he comes back. I'll see if he's got any pictures.
Lovely. Thank you, Alex.
Cheers, mate.
Alex Lane here in Dublin. How are you?
I'm really good. How are you, pal? You all right?
I think you were in Cape Town the last time we spoke, so it just shows you you're globe-trotting the world these days. Just to go back to Manu for a second there, when exactly did you know? You mentioned there about pieces of a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, etc. So you kind of had to know in advance, rather than say yesterday when he was going. When exactly would he have told you that information that he was going?
So, where are we at now? February, because the move pretty much puts an end to his international career if he wanted to go for big money. And clearly no other Premiership club has the money, like we don't have the money. He just said to me, I think it's time, Al. But for certainty, not until that he had got a contract, was last night. Like, I'm still chatting to him on Saturday night, saying I wish I was away. We had a few drinks. I wish I was away, Manu. And that's why, it happened yesterday publicly, so that's why I wanted to go and get some closure tonight with him.
Okay, Grant, and I know you want to finish the season well with him and create some great memories and possibly a Premiership title, but is there a memory now, on or off the pitch, that sums him up in your dealings with him so far?
Yeah, that first walk, I reckon, up Shuttling Slow, which is the kind of highest point in and around Manchester, when he was sorting his Achilles out. It was the first time I got to learn what he was around and where he was in terms of his family structure, what he wanted for his kids. And for Chantal, he's got 3 now, hasn't he? So that's when we struck a chord. And and I understood I wanted to communicate with him, and it's very different to Tom Curry. It's not a bit. Look, it won't last. I'm sure. I'm hoping to make some better memories with him in the next 3 months.
Okay, great. And just switching there, you touched on the George Ford there, reflecting on his performance there. I'm just curious because I can't put a finger on it. I mean, is there a reason why George Ford kind of gets judged by a higher standard compared to other players, and he just seems to attract a lot of negativity, and people don't actually see what he's actually doing out there, that he is actually playing well? Kind of like even there was a couple of boos even in the Ireland game when he was missing the odd kick or two, when he's actually playing very well and really bringing the fight to the Irish guys. I mean, why isn't that he doesn't get the same reviews that other players might get?
Oh, you can say the same about Owen Farrell, his predecessor, couldn't you? Because he is of a higher standard. And I think at fly half you open yourself up to more criticism because you have more opportunities to win, lose and influence a game. For every 8 people out there, there's probably a couple who are critics, and I think for the majority, if you were to say if George Ford a good player through his contribution over the World Cup and certainly over the Six Nations, most people would say, yeah, he's been brilliant, but there's going to be the haters, the naysayers. It's difficult to know, isn't it? Because I'm biased and one-eyed about the man.
Do you ever talk to you about that and about how he just copes and just gets on with it, shrugs it off and continues to come back and do his best?
I'm actually going to talk to him about it on Friday. Yeah, he does. He talks about committing and believing quite a lot. He talks about, we spoke on Monday about the emotional consistency, because that's what we need as a group right now. That's what he had in that last kick, as we know. He talks about how you hold yourself, how you prepare, but more importantly, how that, as a leader, how that bleeds into how you play. So how you hold himself in and around here, that's what I'm talking about from the start of the week, by ways of being intentional with his energy and his communication. How he's consistently brilliant in terms of his preparation, like one of the most professional people I know, and there's loads of little things he does by way of journaling and, the reviews that he puts himself in for the preparation, which is consistent so that he's always ready to go on match day. And that's been a learnt craft over, 15 years. He's been professional since he was 16. He's one of the earliest professionals in the game. He joined Leicester at 16, didn't he? But I'm going to ask him again on Friday. I want him to contribute on that, because I'm still learning myself, and we are as a group.
Yeah, it'd be great to get back to you on that and find out what he does say to you on Friday.
Yeah.
Best of luck for the weekend. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Liam. Cheers, mate. Paul.
Al, very quick one.
Ali.
Just something a bit more general on the league situation. In fact, it's been a little while since you got a Premiership win, and obviously then the break. So, how much have you kind of stressed the nature of this kind of shootout over the next few weeks? The need to hit the ground running hard and early to, get the jump on anybody potentially.
Yeah, I don't think we need to. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? I'm hoping that most people see our league position and maybe think we're desperate or out of it. I'll leave it there. I think I'd much rather. I don't want to argue against that fact. Let them believe that. It's the same for everyone, isn't it? Like, all the teams are playing each other. We're all going to be taking points off each other. You want to win all 6, but realistically, you probably need to win 4 out of 6 to get you in the running.
Okay, and just one other one on Asher.
Yeah.
Been tearing it up for the 20s. We've all seen in short glimpses in the Premiership the destructive nature of his capacity. Where is he at in terms of his development? How excited are you by it, and how much might we see him in the next few weeks?
You'll definitely see him in the next few weeks, if not this weekend. He is at the early stages of his development, been able to switch both sides as a as a prop at any age is difficult, but at his age, it's freakish. Because he's a freakish athlete, he played wing, you know. Did I say that last time? He used to play wing. That's why well, not why, but it's because of his genes that he's so fast twitch, but it creates a different dimension, probably the new dimension of tight heads nowadays, who are able to scrum and carry offload, all the rest of it that he does. I am a lot more excited than he seems to be. He's taken it all in his stride. He's dead chilled out. Like, you don't get much from him. And a relatively excitable chap, as you know, Ali. Maybe that's just the naivety of kind of youth, that when you see someone like that, it's always been kind of like easy for him, but natural for him, and he seems to be not non-phased. That's probably the biggest string to his bow, feather to his hat, really, is that when he steps up to that level, he just approaches it like he does any other game. It doesn't affect his mentality. Some people go within themselves, and especially in props, end up reverting back to kind of bad techniques, and he doesn't do any of that. He's just a very, very fast learner. Which is why his ride's been meteoric. The higher level he's gone up, the better players he's played with and trained with, the more he just saps in, takes in, sponges. So yeah, really, really excited. We've got a job to look after him, haven't we? Because he is young, and just because he's super powerful, like, if we don't look after him, these young lads end up getting neck injuries. I'm not to say burnout, because the place is fun, but I don't want him to get injured and you know, have to start again. Like, it'd be good to keep him ticking over for a different reason. You know, like Raf's had a really tough time of it, and he's not a prop. He's a 9, but he plays with a weird physicality, doesn't he? And trying to keep him on the field is well, I want to negate that with Asher. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Be able to keep him motivated.
Is he bothered, by the way, which side of the scrum he's playing on? I know you see him as a tight head. Certain amount of discussion about him as a loose head at international level to this point. Does he care? Does he have a preference? Do you think it's pick-up?
Yeah, England are feeding like, you're a loose head, because they've got 2 whopping tight heads, haven't they, at 20s? And I'm like, no, you're a tight head, you're tight head. Tight heads are the teddy bear shit. Tight heads are the biggest earners, highest earners in the game. You want money, Asher, if that's one of his motivations. And I still don't know, because he's like blank face. Like, what do you prefer? He's like tight head, Al. So I don't know if it's just like confirmation bias. He's just telling me what I think or what I want to hear. I know loose heads who can do what he do. I don't know tight heads who can do what he does.
Okay. Nice.
All right. Cheers, Al.
Good afternoon. Our weekly injury update. Other than the longer term ones, Johnny Hill, Tom Curry, Dan DePere, is anyone else who's unavailable going into this weekend?
We're keeping tabs on Sharky. As you know, he went off last week. We're still not out of the loop, but he has kind of chronic Achilles issues. Everyone else is available, which is great, isn't it? Yeah. 9 players back in the last 5 weeks. Credit to the medical team. Go on, sorry.
Going back to Wysaya, is his primary position going to be 13, or are you thinking he could fill a few different roles?
I don't care what number they have on the back. You know that, even though I've come in for some criticism. 12, 13, they can swap the numbers in defence or attack. It's all hard lines and outlines in it thereafter. I don't probably have enough knowledge. It's the most difficult position to defend, I reckon, 13 channel. And with everyone fit, then we'll have some decisions to make about what that backlines looks like, as you know. Fordy, Rob, Bedders, Sam Bedlow, Wasaya, Ricky. A few there, aren't there?
And Wysaya wasn't the first arrival for next season to be announced. LaRue Ertz was announced a few weeks back. Is he being brought in as a direct replacement for Cobus Vita?
Yeah. He should be considered 2 signings given his body mass, shouldn't he? 140 Ks or whatever he is. So yeah, straight swap.
come in on short-term deals through to the end of the season, is that solely as injury cover for the players missing, or is there the intention that should all things go well, that potentially something longer term could arise?
Something after their injury cover, because we need them by way of a jumping lock. Cam, his fourth resurgence, I think it is, back at his old club. Something would have to go wrong by way of salary cap, or someone get injured to create some more injury dispensation for us to be able to keep them on, as it stands right now. But it's a brilliant shop window for them, and we get to see the kind of players they are, and they get to put their best foot forward, because they will feature in the next 12 weeks, yeah.
Are you happy with the business that you've been able to do, both in terms of retention, recruitment, and what can fans expect in terms of stuff to come that's yet to be announced?
Yeah, happy, because most of it's been by way of retention. Kieran, I think we've pretty much been able to keep everyone we wanted to keep. And there was musings around Johnny Hill, weren't there? But I'm happy to say that, he's very committed and very happy to be where he's at least for that one more season.
Cheers, Al. Thank you.
Thank you.
Claire left a thing.
Hiya, Claire. What's that speech bubble doing that? Can you see that?
What speech bubble?
There was a speech bubble coming up with a downward thumb.
Yeah, I was about to say, it just keeps coming up. I don't know what.
No idea.
Either it doesn't like what I'm saying or you're saying. I don't know.
Well, let's take it. What I'm saying. Hello, Claire. How are you? It looks nice down there, wherever you are.
Gorgeous. I know.
Sunlight.
It's come from. It's been pretty turgid all week, but this is very nice.
It's good lighting.
90 seconds left according to Zoom. So can I ask you two massively quick fire ones out?
Of course you can. You can always get my number from Sam if you need to. Want to digress if you want any off record stuff, or you could just ask Kieran. He doesn't much to me. I've just used up 90 seconds. Go on. Sorry.
Asher will have come back bouncing, of course, from the under-20s. Back to Alex Wills. How's he getting on? What mark has Johnny May made on him?
Well, I thought he was incredible, really good over the Six Nations campaign. Fortunately, he was ill on the last game, so he couldn't play. So a little bit funky that he missed out on that championship-winning game for the 20s. But like a miles better player than he was at the start of the year, and he's another one who we've got the services, acquired for the next, I think, 3 years moving forward. Dead lucky.